If you woke up this morning and your legs felt a little heavier than usual, if climbing stairs feels harder than it did a few years ago, or if your thighs feel weaker even though you haven't changed anything about your lifestyle, I need you to stop right now and pay close attention, because what I'm about to share with you is something most doctors never tell their patients, and it could completely change how you think about aging, leg strength, and even sleep. Here's the truth that almost nobody talks about. Your legs don't weaken because you're getting older. They weaken because of something that's happening to your body every single night while you sleep. And once you understand this hidden mechanism, and once you make one simple change to how you position your body during sleep, the results can surprise you. Stay with me, because this information is going to matter to you more than anything you've heard in years. Let's start with something most people completely misunderstand. When older adults notice their legs getting weaker, they usually blame one of three things. They think it's just age. They think they need to exercise more, or they think the problem is in their knees or their joints. And they're not entirely wrong to think that. Exercise matters. Joints matter. Age is a factor. But here's what most people don't realize. None of those things explain why leg weakness happens so fast. None of them explain why someone can go from feeling strong and mobile to feeling shaky and slow in just a matter of months, sometimes even weeks. And none of them explain why people who do exercise regularly still notice their legs getting weaker over time. The real problem starts somewhere most people never look. It starts with something that happens in the hours between midnight and early morning. It happens in the blood vessels and nerves that feed your leg muscles. And it starts with a sleeping position that, without you ever knowing, is quietly cutting off the very signals and nutrients your legs depend on to stay strong. This is where the hidden damage begins. Let me explain something that will change everything about how you understand your own body. Your legs are the farthest point from your heart. Think about that for a moment. When your heart pumps blood, it has to send that blood on a long journey, all the way down through your torso, through your hips, through your thighs, all the way to your calves and feet. And then that blood has to make the long journey back up. Now, when you're young, your blood vessels are elastic and flexible. Your circulation is strong. Your heart pushes blood down and your veins push it back up, and your leg muscles get fed all night long. But as we age, something changes. The walls of your blood vessels begin to stiffen. The tiny pump mechanisms inside your veins, little valves that help push blood upward against gravity, they begin to weaken, and the result is that blood starts to pool. It settles. It collects in the lower legs and feet, instead of circulating back up where it needs to go. Now here's where most people miss the connection. When blood pools in your lower legs during sleep, your leg muscles don't just lose circulation. They lose something even more important. They lose the overnight delivery of oxygen, nutrients, and repair signals that your body uses to maintain and rebuild muscle tissue. Think of it like a garden that doesn't get watered for months. The plants don't die all at once. They just slowly wither. They get weaker. They lose their fullness. And by the time you notice something is wrong, the damage has been building for a long time. That is exactly what is happening inside your legs while you sleep in the wrong position. And here's what makes it worse. After the age of 50, and especially after 60, three things happen inside your body that turn this problem from a slow simmer into a serious issue. The first thing is a drop in what we call growth hormone. When you're young, your body produces a surge of growth hormone during deep sleep. This hormone travels through your bloodstream and tells your muscles to repair, to grow, and to stay strong. It's one of the most powerful anti-aging signals your body has. But after 50, the production of growth hormone during sleep drops significantly. Your body is still trying to send that overnight repair signal, but the signal is weaker. And if your circulation is already compromised by the wrong sleeping position, the signal barely reaches your leg muscles at all. What happens next surprises most people. When the repair signal doesn't reach the muscles, the body doesn't just skip the repair. It starts breaking down existing muscle tissue to use as energy instead. This is a process called muscle catabolism, and it explains something that confuses millions of older adults. why their legs seem to shrink in size and strength even when they're eating normally and staying active. The second thing that happens after 50 is a change in your nervous system. Your nerves are the wires that carry signals from your brain to your muscles. They tell your muscles to contract, to move, to respond. And for nerves to work properly, they need something called myelin, a protective coating that keeps the signal strong, like insulation on an electrical wire. As you age, myelin production slows down, and nerve signals to the legs, which already have to travel the longest distance in your body, become slower and weaker. The result is that your legs start to feel less responsive. Movements feel slower. Balance becomes harder. And that feeling of heaviness in the legs that so many people experience? That's often a nerve issue, not a joint issue. Here's what most people don't realize. The wrong sleeping position puts pressure on certain nerve pathways, particularly the sciatic nerve and the femoral nerve, that run through the hip and into the legs. When those pathways are compressed for hours every night, the nerve signals that tell your leg muscles to stay strong and active get interrupted, night after night, week after week, month after month. And the third thing that happens after 50 is something called chronic low-grade inflammation. You may have heard about inflammation before. Most people think of it as swelling, the kind you get from an injury. But chronic low-grade inflammation is different. It's silent. You can't feel it, and it works slowly, quietly, breaking down tissues throughout your body, including the connective tissue and muscle fibers in your legs. This type of inflammation is strongly linked to poor sleep quality and poor sleep posture. When your body doesn't get the deep, restorative sleep it needs, inflammation markers rise, and those inflammation markers target the places where the body is already vulnerable, and the legs, with their challenged circulation and weakened nerve signals, are highly vulnerable. This is the triple threat. Growth hormone drops, nerve signals weaken, inflammation rises, and every night you sleep in the wrong position, all three of these problems get worse. Now I want to tell you about a man named Harold. Harold was 67 years old and had lived an active life. He'd been a mail carrier for 30 years, walking miles every day. He was proud of his legs, strong calves, good balance, no real problems until he retired at 65. Within 2 years of retiring, Harold noticed something troubling. His legs felt heavier. Getting up from a chair required effort in a way it never had before. On his morning walks, he noticed he couldn't keep the pace he used to. His wife commented that he was shuffling more when he walked. Harold saw his doctor. His blood work was normal. His knee x-rays showed only mild arthritis. His doctor told him it was just aging and recommended some physical therapy. Harold did the therapy. It helped a little, but the weakness kept creeping back. What nobody examined was how Harold slept. After his retirement, Harold had developed a habit of sleeping on his back, with both knees locked straight and his feet flat on the mattress, slightly turned outward. He slept this way for hours without moving. And every night, without realizing it, he was compressing the blood flow through his popliteal artery, the artery behind the knee, for hours at a time. He was also allowing his lower back to flatten in a way that put subtle pressure on the nerve roots supplying his legs. The problem wasn't Harold's knees. The problem wasn't even his age. The problem was what was happening during the 8 hours he spent lying still every night. When Harold learned about this connection and made some simple changes to his sleeping position and his nighttime routine, something remarkable happened. Within about 3 weeks, he noticed the morning heaviness in his legs had improved. Within 2 months, his walking pace had picked back up. His wife stopped commenting on the shuffling. Harold's story isn't unique, and it doesn't require anything expensive or complicated to change. But before I tell you exactly what to do, I want to give you a simple test you can do right now to see if this is relevant to you. This takes less than 60 seconds, and it could tell you a lot about what's happening in your legs right now. Sit in a chair with both feet flat on the floor. Sit up straight. Now, without using your hands for support, try to stand up from the chair in one smooth movement. Stand up, then sit back down. Do this 5 times, as quickly as you comfortably can. Now here's what this tells you. If you needed to use your hands to push yourself up, even once, that's a sign that your thigh muscles, particularly the quadriceps, are significantly weakened. This is one of the first signs that the overnight muscle repair cycle is being disrupted. If you notice that one leg pushed harder than the other, that you leaned or shifted to favor one side, that can suggest uneven nerve compression during sleep, which is very common and often goes completely undetected. And if standing and sitting 5 times left, you feeling your thighs or hips were burning or shaking more than expected, that tells you that your leg muscles are working harder than they should for a simple movement, which means they've lost endurance that they used to have. Your body is trying to warn you with every one of these signs. The good news? Every one of these signs can improve. And the starting point is addressing what happens during those critical overnight hours. So let's talk about the sleeping position, because this is where everything changes. The position that causes the most damage for older adults is sleeping flat on the back with legs straight and no support under the knees. Here's why. When you lie flat on your back with your legs fully extended, your lower back naturally tries to flatten against the mattress. This puts subtle but constant tension on the lumbar spine, and the lumbar spine is where the nerve roots that supply your entire leg originate. When those roots are under even mild pressure for hours, the nerve signals to your leg muscles become compromised. And because you're not moving, the circulation through the deep veins in your legs slows to a near standstill. This is where the hidden damage begins. Now there's a second position that causes problems too, and it affects millions of older adults. Sleeping on the side with both knees drawn up high toward the chest, what people call the fetal position, sounds comfortable. And sometimes it is. But when done without proper support between the knees, it causes the hips to rotate inward and put significant torque on the sciatic nerve. Night after night, this rotation irritates the nerve pathway running from the lower back all the way down through the buttock and into the leg. This is one of the hidden causes of that deep, aching weakness that many people feel in their outer thighs and hip area. So what's the right position? The position that maximizes circulation, takes pressure off nerve roots, and allows growth hormone to do its job of rebuilding leg muscle, is this. Sleep on your back, but place a firm pillow or a rolled towel underneath your knees, not a flat pillow, a firm one that keeps your knees raised about 4 to 6 inches. This single change does something remarkable. It takes the flattening pressure off your lower lumbar spine, allowing the nerve roots to decompress overnight. It changes the angle of your legs so that the return circulation from the calves and feet is naturally improved. And it reduces the pooling of blood in the lower legs, which means your muscles receive a steadier supply of oxygen and nutrients throughout the night. Think of it like elevating a plant's roots just slightly so water can drain and circulate properly instead of pooling and stagnating. But there's more. If you're a side sleeper, and many older adults sleep on their side, the key adjustment is to place a firm pillow between your knees, keeping them stacked. This keeps the hips in neutral alignment, prevents the inward rotation that compresses the sciatic nerve, and allows the hip flexors to rest in a lengthened position instead of a crunched one. Hip flexors attach to the top of the femur, your thigh bone. When they're held in a shortened position all night, they create a pulling force on the front of the hip that interferes with the circulation to the quadriceps. Many people wake up with stiff, weak thighs and assume it's just how they feel in the morning. It's not. It's the result of those muscles being mechanically starved during sleep. The pillow between the knees for side sleepers fixes this. It's a simple change. It costs nothing, and the difference can be felt within days. Now here's one more detail that most people skip, and it matters. Before you get into bed each night, spend just 3 to 5 minutes doing a very simple leg drainage routine. Lie on your back on the bed or on the floor and raise both legs straight up against the wall. Let them rest there. Just let gravity do the work. This simple position uses gravity to drain the blood that has been pooling in your lower legs throughout the day. It clears out the fluid, refreshes the circulation, and prepares your leg tissues for the overnight repair process. 5 minutes of legs up the wall before sleep is one of the most underused, most effective things an older adult can do to support overnight leg recovery. It costs nothing. It requires no strength, and it works with your body's own gravity system. Now let's talk about what else you can do. Because sleep position is the foundation. but the full protocol includes a few more pieces that work together beautifully. The first piece is morning activation. Within the first 15 minutes of waking up, before you even get out of bed, do what I call the morning leg wake-up sequence. Still lying down, flex both feet upward as hard as you can, hold for 5 seconds, then release. Do this 10 times. This activates the pump mechanism in your calves, which is the primary driver of venous return, meaning it pushes blood back up toward the heart after a night of lying still. Then, still on your back, do 10 slow bicycle movements with your legs in the air. Not fast, slow and deliberate. This activates the hip flexors, the quadriceps, and the hamstrings in a controlled way, sending the first nerve activation signals of the day to all of the major muscle groups of the leg. And finally, before you stand up, sit on the edge of the bed and do 10 knee extensions, lifting each foot until the leg is straight, holding for 3 seconds, then lowering. This is one of the most direct ways to wake up the quadriceps, and doing it before standing means you're activating the muscles before you load them with your body weight. This entire morning sequence takes less than 5 minutes, and it sends a very powerful message to your nervous system, a message that says, these muscles are active, these muscles are needed, these muscles should be maintained. The second piece is circulation nutrition. What you eat in the hours before sleep directly affects your overnight leg recovery. 2 nutrients are particularly important. The first is magnesium. Magnesium plays a critical role in muscle relaxation, nerve signal transmission, and overnight muscle repair. Many older adults are significantly deficient in magnesium without knowing it. Foods rich in magnesium include pumpkin seeds, dark leafy greens, almonds, and dark chocolate. A small portion of any of these as an evening snack can support the overnight process. The second nutrient is nitric oxide, or more specifically, the foods that help your body produce it. Nitric oxide is the compound that causes your blood vessels to dilate and expand, improving circulation throughout your legs. Beets, leafy greens like arugula and spinach, and pomegranate are among the most powerful foods for nitric oxide production. Having a small amount of any of these at dinner, even just a few bites of beet or a handful of arugula, can noticeably support overnight leg circulation. Here's what most people don't realize. You don't need large amounts, you need consistency. A small amount of circulation-supporting food every evening, combined with the right sleeping position, compounds over time into real, measurable improvement. The third piece is daytime movement. This might seem obvious, but the type of movement matters enormously. The most effective movement for supporting overnight leg strength recovery isn't intense exercise. It's slow, sustained walking, particularly in the late afternoon. Here's why. Walking in the late afternoon, between 3 and 6 p.m., has been shown to produce the greatest benefit for leg circulation and muscle readiness. During a walk, your calf muscles act as a secondary pump for your venous circulation. Every step squeezes the veins in the calf and pushes blood upward. A 20 to 30-minute walk in the late afternoon essentially clears the legs of accumulated fluid, reduces the pooling that happens during the day, and sets the legs up for better overnight circulation. Even a slow 15-minute walk is beneficial. You don't need to power walk. You just need to move consistently. The fourth piece is the before-sleep leg massage. This is simple, takes 3 minutes, and can be done sitting on the edge of your bed. Using both hands, firmly stroke the skin on your calves from the ankle upward toward the knee, always upward, following the direction of venous return. Do this for about 60 seconds on each leg, then move to the thighs, stroking from the knee toward the hip. Again, always upward. This manual technique helps move fluid upward, reduces overnight swelling, and prepares the tissues of the leg for the repair phase of sleep. Combined with the legs up the wall position I mentioned earlier, this before-sleep routine creates ideal conditions for your leg muscles to receive the repair signals they need through the night. Now let's talk about what you might actually notice as you make these changes, and when. In the first 3 to 5 days, most people notice one thing above everything else. They wake up feeling less stiff. The morning heaviness and grogginess in the legs, that feeling like your legs are made of lead when you first stand up, begins to ease. This happens because the nerve pathways are decompressing during the night instead of being compressed. The change can feel subtle at first, but it's real. Within the first 2 weeks, circulation improvements become more noticeable. The feet and lower legs feel warmer in the morning. Some people notice that the nighttime cramps or restless leg sensations they'd been experiencing begin to reduce. This is the magnesium and the improved circulation working together. By the end of the first month, people typically report a meaningful change in functional strength. The chair stand test becomes easier. Stairs feel less demanding. That shuffling or drag in the step that so many older adults experience begins to smooth out. Between 1 and 3 months, if the full protocol is being followed consistently, the sleep position, the morning activation sequence, the circulation nutrition, the afternoon walks, and the before-sleep routine, people typically notice a real improvement in overall leg endurance. Walks become longer. Movements feel more natural. The sense of muscular control and confidence returns. And what happens next truly surprises most people. Balance improves. And that's one of the most important things, because balance is one of the first functions lost when leg strength declines, and one of the most critical for preventing falls and maintaining independence. I want to be very clear about something. These changes won't happen the same way or at the same speed for everyone. If you have a medical condition affecting your circulation or nerves, such as diabetes, peripheral artery disease, or a history of blood clots, you need to speak with your doctor before making changes to your sleeping habits or adding new physical routines. Some of these protocols may need to be adjusted for your specific condition. Your body is not a machine. It's a living, complex system. And healing always works in layers, not all at once. But here's the beautiful truth. Your body, at any age, responds to the right input. When you remove what's been quietly damaging your legs at night and replace it with conditions that support overnight repair, your body responds. Maybe not overnight, but it responds. Let me also mention something important about when you should see a doctor. If your leg weakness has come on suddenly, over days rather than weeks, that needs prompt medical attention. If you have swelling in only one leg, or if your leg feels warm and painful to the touch, that could be a sign of a blood clot, and you should seek care immediately. If you have numbness, tingling, or a burning sensation that is getting worse rather than better, speak to your physician about a nerve evaluation. The protocol I've described today is for the common, gradual leg weakness that millions of older adults experience as a result of poor sleep posture and the cumulative effects of aging on circulation and nerve function. It is not a treatment for medical conditions. And if something feels wrong, beyond ordinary weakness and fatigue, always trust that feeling and get it checked. Your instincts about your own body are usually right. So let me bring this all together for you. Your legs are not weakening simply because you're getting older. They are weakening because every night, while you sleep, a set of hidden processes is silently reducing the circulation, the nerve signals, and the repair hormones that your leg muscles depend on to stay strong. Poor sleeping position compresses the nerve roots of the lumbar spine and reduces the return circulation from your legs. This interrupts the overnight repair cycle at the exact time when your body is trying to use growth hormone to rebuild your muscle tissue. Add in the natural decline of hormone production after 50, the slowing of nerve signal transmission, and the rise of chronic inflammation, and you have a perfect storm of hidden damage that nobody is talking about. But now you know, and you know what to do. Sleep on your back with a firm pillow under your knees, 4 to 6 inches of elevation, or sleep on your side with a firm pillow between your knees to keep the hips aligned. Before sleep, spend 5 minutes with your legs up the wall, then 3 minutes massaging the legs upward. Wake up and do the morning leg activation sequence before you stand. Eat magnesium-rich and nitric oxide-boosting foods at dinner. Take a 20-minute walk in the late afternoon. None of this is complicated. None of it costs money, and all of it works with your body's own natural healing system, instead of against it. Here's what most people don't realize. The body doesn't give up. It's never stopped trying to repair itself. It's never stopped sending those nightly signals to your legs. It just needs the right conditions to do the job. Give your legs what they need during the hours they're being rebuilt. And watch what happens. Your legs carried you through everything in your life. They carried you to work every morning. They walked your children to school. They danced at celebrations and climbed mountains and stood firm when everything felt uncertain. They're still trying to carry you forward. They just need a little help. And it starts tonight with how you lay your head down and close your eyes. Don't underestimate that. Don't underestimate what one simple change, done consistently, can do for the strength and freedom of your legs. Your body is not finished, and neither are you.